Yona. Good morning.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Where are you right now?
I'm in Israel right now, visiting after 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not. I live in Barcelona, but I have because of COVID, I couldn't come for about 2 years, so um, I'm
Wow.
here visiting now.
Amazing. And
Yeah,
thank you to be here with us this morning. It's a real
yeah.
pleasure to
Thanks
interview
for
such
having
an
me.
artist like you. So, first question, quite simple, but who are you?
Okay, well, again, my name is Yonat. I'm an artist. I've been doing crypto art since 2017. And generally in my art before I started doing crypto art and now as well, the thing that interests me the most is kind of how we as humanity see the world. So why we where we get our ideas from, why certain people are attracted to some ideas and others to other ideas, and how how the past is connected to the present and connected to the future, and kind of like the whole meaning of life. But I don't believe there is an answer to what is the meaning of life. I think it's just the journey. So I'm really interested in different people's journeys. Why do we connect to certain things and not to others?
Okay. And how do you
Yeah.
manage to show this link in your artwork?
I try to connect different things. So I start my artwork always with a traditional medium, so usually oil painting,
Okay.
and then I turn it into something digital or connect them. I use a lot of replicas. So when I talk about a story, when I talk about something that's happening today, most of my work today is about crypto and decentralization. So I talk about what's happening today, but even if we think, this is a revolution, this is
Mhm.
something new, but revolutions have already happened in the past. So there's always something that's the same, that connects us to the past. So I always try to look for a story from the past that's similar to the story I'm telling today. So and I use a lot of times replicas of like ancient artifacts. So I did a wax tablet, which was like a Roman, what they used to write on in Roman times. I did a harpoon. I made a harpoon, which we can maybe talk about later. But it's a traditional So the Basque people, it's a traditional walking stick that has a very large history and tradition. So always trying to take something from the past and then connect it to the future. And I believe that in the intersection between, the past and the future, and digital and physical, and different people, is kind of like, that's where I look for the essence of humanity, like where these things connect.
Yeah, it's really interesting because for a lot of people, crypto or NFTs is something that people must be afraid of because it's a new technology. It's gonna close us into something that we cannot escape, you know. But what you say, it's really true because if we think and if we look back, when it starts internet, for example, everybody was saying the same, it's gonna shut down, the crash of 2000, you know. Everybody was so afraid, and it's each time there is a technical revolution, it's the same. At some point, some job are useless, but it creates new job. So what you say is actually pretty true. And what I'm quite amazed is the fact that we're gonna show it in a few minutes, if it's okay for you, your web page on
Yeah.
Google, because you have two places on your website, and you talk about, like, there is your art about crypto and NFTs. So for you, this is really part of your work now, and maybe part of your journey too. Can you tell us, like, when did you start really to be interested about crypto?
Well, I discovered Bitcoin in 2017. So
Okay.
in early 2017,
Yes.
so before the bull run. So I
Yeah.
kind of got into it, with the bull run. But I was also looking for something new to do with my art, and for me it was okay. This looks like a super interesting subject. It kind of has everything. It has, a revolution and decentralization and something new that's happening in the world, and it has a whole culture around it with memes and and it's like the Wild West. It had so many
Yes.
things to talk about, and I thought, wow, this could be a great series of 8 paintings. That was kind of like how I entered it, and then I'll move on to another series because I like to work on different things. And honestly, I just kind of went down the rabbit hole, and I'm still there. Like it's kind of like this thing that just keeps giving. It has I feel like it's this thing that has so many things to talk about, and it's kind of like a micro ecosystem of the world. It shows everything, so you can take it to so many places, and that's what I'm doing. I'm still in that, and again, like, it's not, for me, it's not about writing a Bitcoin symbol or painting an ETH symbol, or it's really about what's behind this. Like, it's not about just let's promote crypto.
Of course.
It's about the whole idea, the whole story, the whole what this can do for people. I mean, even what's happening now, there's so many people who have entered the art scene, or entered, it's given so many opportunities to people who didn't have, if it's from a monetary standpoint, people who didn't have a bank account, people who are in political asylum, all kinds of very important things. And then a lot of art collectors that have never even looked at art before have entered. So it's like this whole realm of opportunities, and there's so much to talk about. It's like it's a never ending
And what is amazing is that we don't know yet till where it's gonna go, because when it first started, it was Bitcoin, okay, and then a few years later, there is so many other currencies that appear. There is this NFTs, which is just like the fruit actually of crypto, like the kind of continuity. And now we have the metaverse, and now we have so many things, and it's crazy how fast it goes, and actually so many opportunities that are now created and that no one would ever think back to 2018. And what is most amazing is that sadly there is some artists who just want to be in the trend. Okay, oh, it's trend of crypto NFTs, okay, I'm gonna do that, but it doesn't have any meaning for them. And what is amazing is that it's really just for you, like in your identity, something that catch your attention, and you just want to express it on the way you see it. And so if it's okay for you, I'm gonna share my screen to and this we can go through some of your artwork, and you can give some explanation, if it's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So like this, you can you see it?
Yeah.
Perfect. So tell me, should we go first to Bitcoin art?
Sure. What? Yeah. Well, in the Bitcoin art, you can see where I started. If you go to the crypto paintings, that was my beginning in when I first started.
Okay, so this was your first.
My first is the one on the bottom. It kind of goes up.
Oh, sure. Over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is, I think these paintings kind of show my journey into crypto. So this painting, for example, so when I started in 2017, I started following a lot of people on Twitter and kind of getting the idea of what this is about. And the thing that caught my attention the most were the memes. It's kind of like what catches you when you get in. And there was this meme about Litecoin, the Arise Chicken meme.
Okay.
So the Litecoin, like the mascot is a chicken, and everyone was like, Arise, like the chicken going to the moon. So I decided to do like a fine art oil painting about a chicken in the moon with a Litecoin in its beak. And when I finished this, I just posted it on Twitter, and someone tagged Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin. Okay. And about 15 minutes later, he wrote me a DM like, how much?
Amazing.
Yeah. And about like literally, I don't know, 20 minutes later, I had he bought it. I had Litecoin in my wallet, which I had to figure out how to do because it was one of my first crypto transactions.
Yes, yes.
And I sold the painting, and that was kind of like my entrance to crypto, you know, and it blew my mind because I used to work with galleries, you know, where everything is so slow and there's gatekeepers, and it's never, you know, like from
That's
you
easy.
to the collector, right? And here I'm like just posting a picture, a painting on Twitter, and the creator of the coin buys it in like half an hour.
Actually, it's really amazing. Like, what can you dream that a better, you know, to enter into the crypto? Like it's
Yeah,
so, it's just
totally. It was like, okay, wow, I'm here.
let's go. There is some things to do, and let's go. Because what is amazing is that originally you didn't create this painting to get money out of it. It was just like a free gift to the community because you post it on Twitter actually, and it's actually I think it's really, if we have to summarize what NFTs or crypto can do for artists, this is what happened to you. The fact that there is a community behind who just want to be honest with the creator, and if they like what you're doing, they just want to buy it without, you know, negotiation and stuff. And I think it's a pretty relevant you know, example of what can be to be an artist in NFT sphere, but with conviction, you know, not to follow a trend, but to really bring your own creativity and your own sensibility to your art. So okay,
yeah,
so this
and exactly, and to add to what you're saying, you know, I just started in crypto art. I didn't have, like, nobody knew who I was in crypto. So he literally just liked the painting, and so, you know, that is part of that. People like buy the art that they like. Right now there is more of this thing of like who, but you know, it started with people just buying the paintings that they liked.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So let's go a bit up. So this was, yes, so we can see some history with some little Bitcoin bag on the table. No, it's a bag,
Yeah,
sorry.
so this was the second painting I did. It's about one of it was a crypto trader that was also very very active on Twitter in 2017. And I just thought his story was, so he was Turkish, but he was living in the Netherlands. So I thought, you know, I kind of took the story of, you know, the tulip bubble was between the Netherlands and Turkey in a way. You know, they would, it was like the first enterprise, the first global enterprise, and it was a bubble, and it was the kind of like a story that has a lot to do with what people were talking about Bitcoin. And in the 17th century, the traders that got wealthy from this trade would always have their portrait taken, and it would be in this kind of format. So they would have like the rug, and the things on the rug that were part of their trade, and they would sit, and it would always be like they're sitting in a room, and it's kind of like the same format that I used. So I kind of painted him like Turkish, with like a Dutch outfit from the 17th century in the same format, but like as a Bitcoin trader with the tulips.
And
so,
the
so this is
shoes.
kind of like the connection between, you know, that revolution that started like a global market, and what's happening today.
Yeah, because if we, when we first see this picture, we can be like, oh, you know, it's this picture, sorry, this art, it's you know, we can say, oh, it's an old painting, because all the ways that you paint remind like old way to paint it, and even the posture of the character. But few seconds after, you can see that he has sneakers, and that there is some Bitcoin, so, you know, little bag. So it's a really interesting work. Yeah. When Moon, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, this was also part of the memes that were in crypto then, you know, in 2017, like when moon surf. For me, this was kind of like, okay, so there's a lot of people that want to get that, you know, there was a lot of, for me, this was my question of, is this really a revolution, or is it just people that already are privileged that are getting richer? Because it was when people were doing a lot of trades, and and there was all these people that were trying, but it wasn't working, and a lot of them were from, you know, third world countries, and so it's kind of like, okay, is this really a revolution? You can see with my paintings kind of all the questions I had, you know, when you go into crypto and you ask yourself, is this real, or is this a scam, or is this, you know, just another, you know, so it's kind of like, that was the way of,
and
you know, trying to like exchange his gold for Bitcoin, but maybe it's not working so much. So
yeah, because a lot of people, I mean, originally Bitcoin was created to supposed to be as gold.
Yeah.
So I think this is why you did this. And now, if you have to respond to this question, because now as some country really use Bitcoin as a currency, and I think it was, of course, it wasn't the case in back on time when you paint this. So I think it was, you know, pretty futurist, this vision, because now it's kind of true.
Yeah.
In some countries. So if you have to respond to us, answer this question now, do you think that now it's less for only privileged country and people, and do you think now it's more open?
I think it's both. I think still, if you come from a privileged country, you're privileged, whether you think so or not. But I think the technology itself does enable a lot of things in for people who don't have access to banks, who do live in countries with a lot of with bad inflation. So it is for everyone. It does give that opportunity, but obviously, if you're in, you know, in a privileged country, it's easier for you.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, it gave more opportunities, but at the same time, you need to have a phone, you need to have a, you know, a computer, you need to have a fast internet access to process. So even if it gives opportunity to anyone to create, to buy, to trade, to, you know, use his sensibility to be, okay, is this gonna work, or I want to invest in that, you still need at the foundation a good tools. And
you still need the initial money to do it.
Exactly.
You know, even if it's a little bit, you know, for some people, $100 is an enormous amount of money.
Exactly.
And you still need to eat, and, you know, so it is giving that opportunity, you know, but we have to remember that, I mean, let's not pretend it's making everything perfect.
Yeah, of course. Oh, what is this? Can you give us a little explanation?
Well, this is actually a painting that was commissioned by Zuko, the creator of Zcash.
Okay.
So he commissioned this. This was also, I think, maybe in 2018. I don't remember, but there was like, they were looking for the mascot of Zcash, and it was between a zebra and a tardigrade. You heard of tardigrades?
Yes.
I haven't heard of them before I painted this painting. It's like these microscopic creatures that live in water, that in a microscope they look like bears, like really weird, like really ugly bears. And apparently they're very, like, they grow really fast, and apparently in some places they're like a problem, like an ecological problem, but they're like microscopic. And Zuko wanted that the tardigrade be like the mascot of Zcash, but since, you know, they did a vote, he lost. It wasn't what he wanted, and they selected the zebra. So he wanted kind of like a zebra tardigrade. So
I see.
Yeah, painted like tardigrade zebras in the savannah. But this was a commission for him.
Okay. So maybe we're gonna go to see your NFTs collection, or is there any? Maybe you want to give an explanation of something that you really like.
We can go to, if you go to the the whaler harpoon.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is just an example of like how it takes stories from the past and So, one of the biggest memes in crypto is the whale,
Yes, the crypto whale.
the
Yes.
crypto whale. So I took the story of, so the Basque people, they live in the west part of Spain and France.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 16th, 17th century, they would go to the coast of Canada to hunt whales.
Yes.
So they would go on these expeditions, across the Atlantic Ocean, which were very, very dangerous. And they would hunt whales to bring back the whale fat. They would make oil and sell
Yes.
it in Europe.
And yeah, and to light the cities back on
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like a big enterprise, it was new. It's the whole theme of the ocean as well, that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of words in crypto have to do with the ocean, like
Yeah.
liquidity, getting wrecked, going to new frontiers. So a lot of this story has to do with crypto. And then I talked to the museum and tried to get the exact measurements of the harpoon. So this is like an exact replica of the harpoons that were used by the Basque whalers to hunt whales. And I had two artisans, that one made the harpoon head, which is like an exact replica of the harpoons that were used, and the oh, I forgot the word. I think it's shaft.
Mm-hmm.
The
I
word in
believe
English,
so.
the stick.
Yes.
Is a Basque maquila, which is like a Basque walking stick. So it's really, really beautiful. It's made with a special kind of wood that they make like these carvings on the wood when it's still when the stick is still connected to the tree, and the tree makes these beautiful scars.
Oh, I didn't
And
know.
so it's very, very artisanship, like traditional. And um, and it has silver engravings, and when you open the top, there's like a little knife. So they used to use this walking stick also as a defense mechanism.
Okay, I
And
see.
then these are commissioned, and I paint the story of a crypto trader on it. So it's like a crypto trader going to hunt whales. And then
Wow.
this kind of has
It
the
makes sense.
story of something from the past of hunting whales and the
Yeah,
connection to today.
yeah,
So that's kind
exactly.
of like an
It's,
example.
it's exactly that. Now we are still looking for well.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So this art actually shows really your your work, because you just not paint. You use different tools to paint, different support, and we can really see in this specific work that you try to connect the past, the present, in a way that it's actually, as you said, few years later. I mean, few years. Some years later, we were hunting whale, and now it's kind of the same, but digitally, if we can say. So it's
yeah,
a beautiful representation of your work. Let's go on
yeah.
NFTs to see a bit.
Hmm.
So you created collection of NFTs, right?
Yeah.
How much did you launch so far?
Um, 5 probably.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
So over
The
there,
first
yes, is this one? No, the first one is all
the
the
first
way.
one is on the bottom more. It's
Yeah.
animals met this one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was my first collection of NFTs. So when I
Okay.
started crypto, I knew about NFTs, and I was in, in 2018 there were like 2 Telegram groups about crypto, about NFTs,
Wow.
about for crypto artists. So I knew about it, but since I come from like a physical art background, I didn't really get how I could use it in my work.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at it more as like certificates of authenticity, but it
Yes.
took me a while to really understand NFTs and see how I can connect it to my work. So this was the first collection I did in 2020 with Nifty Gateway.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was I painted this during the first lockdown. So it
Okay.
was kind of like, the world was going crazy and no one knew what was going on, and people were saying different things. And to me, it was like, okay, what's happening, and how do we process information from different sources when we don't really know what's happening, and how do we decide what we believe and what we don't believe. And I used animals because, you know, when it's like a universal thing that if I tell you, oh, you're a pig, no, or stop acting like a monkey, you understand what I mean by that. You know, it's like these metaphors that we use animals for. So I kind of used animals to, you know, to explain these things. So for example, here the bird that's on the lion is a cuckoo bird, and the cuckoo bird is from, there's a Greek play, Birds, that was, you know, written in the Greek, in by Aristophanes in the Greek times. And it was about these two Greek citizens that left Athens and didn't want to live anymore in this place where they were paying taxes for nothing. You know, kind of like the story of crypto today. They wanted to change, a monetary change. Yes. And they went to the birds, to the leader of the birds, and they told him, we want to live with you. We want to create a perfect world between our world and the bird and the sky. And we want your help. And everyone, and they said, like, and the leader of the birds said, are you crazy? Like, what's wrong with you? Are you crazy? Or like a cuckoo, you know, when we say cuckoo.
Yes.
And then one of the birds said, they're not crazy. They're the sanest people in the world, because they understand that what's happening now is not okay. And there's this phrase of living in cloud cuckoo land. So for example, like Margaret Thatcher said about Nelson Mandela, he said, if anyone thinks Black people will ever rule in South Africa, they're living in cloud cuckoo land, like they're crazy. So it's kind of like a political phrase as well. And so that's why I put the cuckoo bird there, to kind of like, let's look at things in a different way. So I use, like, every animal in this collection has a meaning, like there's the symbol of that animal.
Okay, yeah, I see. And it's true that without the explanation, it can be really open to imagination, actually.
Yeah.
But no, it's a really nice work. And if we go on your NFTs too, let me just check, because I saw that you paint on old instruments. I don't know where I found it. You know, you paint. It was on not a guitar.
The guitar was in the Bitcoin art.
Yeah,
but
okay.
It's not an NFT.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I just thought about this because I saw it and it was really, really wonderful. And so, can we just finish the presentation of your art by this? Can you explain us?
Yeah, so this is a collaboration I did with another artist. It's called Black Cherry. So my work are the ones that are the oil paintings.
Yes.
And we did kind of, the idea was to do and to talk about the revolution, you know, like I said before, this is like a new revolution that's happening in the world. So let's talk about different parts where things changed, you know, where revolutions happened in history, and connect them to what's happening today. So the one on the left on the bottom it's not the full painting. This is like a part of it, but it's like the French Revolution. So kind of like talking about different parts. So the one on the right hand corner on the top is the American Revolution. But again, I talk about, like, for example, here in the American Revolution, if you go inside, you can see the whole painting, because this isn't the whole.
Sorry, like this? No. Oh yeah. This?
Well, for example, this is about the Roman Empire, where the before the Roman Empire. So there was, you know, there's in crypto, a lot of people say plebs. So plebs comes from Roman times, and plebs were the people who fought to also become citizens, and fair citizens that could decide things about their future. So, you know, in Roman times, they did that, a big democratic change where the citizens could decide for themselves as well. So, and they were called plebeians, and that's where they comes from in crypto. And these are the three gods of it's Dionysus is on the left, and he's the god of freedom. And there's the Libertas is the one on the right on the bottom, which is the goddess of freedom, and then there's the goddess of the crops and of agriculture, of money, and they were the three gods of the plebeians. So this was kind of like how I showed that time in the Roman in Roman times, that talked about, you know, this change in when people had more power.
And it's actually what is happening right now, because this is a kind of wanted of being wealthy, being free, and having pleasure. So as in your previous work, you managed to link it. Okay, I'm gonna stop the share. Hi again.
Hi.
So, wow, it was really I was like this on my screen, because it's so, you know, we go inside the paint. It's wonderful. It's really wonderful. I'm really happy that some people are gonna, you know, discover your work, because it's really beautiful and with a lot of meaning behind, with stories. And I can see that you have a lot of knowledge in history, so it's beautiful to express it in this new digital world. So now I have a question for you. You are a woman, me too. I would like to ask you, what advice can you give to a female artist, a female, just a woman, who want to go in this crypto and NFT, you know, sphere? Because as we see, it's for now, it's changing, but for now it's mostly, you know, used and by men actually. So what can be your best advice?
I think my best advice is to go in and try. I think the good thing about crypto, I decided to say who I was, you know, to say my name, to show my face, and so everybody knows that I'm a woman and who I am. The good thing about crypto is, if you know, if your identity is something that you don't want to show, there is opportunity. You know, there's a lot of artists that we don't really know if they're men or women, or so in a way there is, you know, equal opportunity if you stay anonymous. And you know, I've never felt that, you know, a lot of women, I think, get DMs and get a lot of things that are offensive, and personally I've never had that. But of course, you know, to say that this doesn't exist here, it does. You know, it's a male culture.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's part of it. You know, if it's the jokes, and if it's just the general everything, atmosphere, I don't know, I guess, you know, being a woman, you know it. I think a lot of men are like, what are you talking about? Because they don't understand what we're talking about, because they're part of it. And I think when you come from, when you're not part of that, you understand that there is a culture that is defining this in a way. For me, the solution, honestly, is to have more women that are artists and more women that are collectors.
Yes.
I don't think men consciously buy men's art. I think maybe, you know, they're more attracted to it because it talks to them in a way.
Yes.
You know, in the end, we're attracted to what talks to us, and
exactly.
And you know, and maybe I think there needs to be more women collectors that get more attracted to what other women do. And this space has a lot to grow, and it already has. I think there are more women here than there are
more and more
tech, you know, tech and art in general. And there is, again, I don't feel necessarily that there's, you know, a premeditated, you know,
no
thing, but it's there because culturally it's there. You know, we all have it.
Yes.
Even as women, we have it. You know,
Yes.
to pretend that we don't. We've all been, you know, brainwashed all our life to see
Yeah.
the differences. So we all have it, and we have to remember that we do. And so my advice is to get in and be yourself, and don't be afraid to be yourself, and don't try to make art that's not you.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't try to do what's popular or what's the trend right now, because in the end, you know, again, you said there's a lot of artists that are coming now that just want to, oh, I can make money with this, and then yeah, you do what, you know, what makes money
Yeah.
right now, but that doesn't help you as an artist if you're looking at this in the long run. Just be
In the long
yourself,
term.
see what your art is, and talk about it and tell your story. And you know, I have a lot of most of my collectors are men, so you know, because that's the majority in this space. So
And they support you and they give you the opportunity to continue your work. So
yeah,
no, I think just for women, it's just that we have to fight a little bit more.
yeah,
That's all. But it's a good way on a, if you see it, because we just have to be more present and be more active. And so I think but it already starts to be more equal a little bit. And it's true that so far I think that this community is pretty not open mind, but pretty you know, positive in a way. There is not so much like if there is, when there is female artists, there is mostly support. I just think that women need to understand that they can have their place and the space.
yeah, definitely. And also, and this is, you know, this is work that we have to do as women in general, not just in this space but in
No,
life, that if there's, you know, if you get these comments, and again, it's not easy to do, and you know, we all know how that feels, but you know, we have to also work on ourselves to remember that these comments say everything about that person and nothing about us.
exactly.
So it means that person's an idiot and doesn't deserve your time of day, and
Mhm.
not, again, I know how hard it is to not take it personally, but you know, it's like this ongoing work we have to do to not take it personally, to know who we are and how much we're worth. You know, and when someone gives these comments, they're the idiot, they're the jerk, and that's it, and it says everything about them and nothing about us, and just to ignore it. And you know, because what they want is for you to
To follow.
comment,
Yeah.
they want to, you know, activate you. So
Being ignorant sometimes is the best answer.
yeah, yeah, because
Okay.
they don't deserve an answer.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a really good advice. It's a really good advice. And so now I have just one last question for you. So as you know, I'm part of Jenny DAO. So Jenny DAO, it's a platform with fractionalized NFTs. And I would like to ask you if, for example, one day you decide to do artwork for us, what would it be?
yeah, I like the idea of, you know, the idea of aviation. So kind of like these new, it also has for me, like the first connotation that it does is like these new frontiers, this new way of getting to places. And you know, we talked about before that there's something feminine about it, so definitely that's something, you know, that it's something that's very important to me. And I know there, one of my drops was a very personal one. It was about, you know, femininity, and that is something that I want to put more into my work. So I would probably do something like that. I mean, maybe even what we just talked about, you know, how can more women enter this space and you know, fly
Yes.
into it, or get more opportunities.
So maybe we're gonna discuss
Off
for
the top of my head.
collaboration. Yes, no, it's good. Yeah, I'm sure our community would love your work. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, Yuna, thank you so much for your time. It was wow, really enriching and a real pleasure to talk to you. And hopefully we can meet one day in Barcelona or in Paris.
Yeah, for sure.
Anytime you come to France, it will be a pleasure to meet you in face-to-face. And let's keep working. Thank you
If you
so
come
much.
to Barcelona, let me know.
Promise I will. I wish you a beautiful day, and I will share it to our community right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.